Hi, sisters. So I'm going to give you some scripture because I know it's tough when your spouse isn't totally on board. So you want to read 1 Corinthians chapter 7. I'm trying to go there. So 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 14 and 15. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now they are holy. So through your obedience to Jehovah, you will sanctify your house, even if your husband is non-believing. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God has called us to peace. So there has been times where some of the brothers' spouses have divorced them because they chose to walk the narrow path. So just be aware of that. But be long-suffering with your husband. Be patient. And you want to read also 1 Peter chapter 3. If I can find it. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. So it's going to be really important that you get sanctified in the word, so you can show him the scripture and ask him questions, because we are supposed to be submissive to our husbands. As women, we cannot usurp our authority over them. We cannot openly rebuke them, but you can show him scripture and ask him questions. Okay? So it's going to be important that you get rooted in the word so you can do that. And through the change he'll see in you, not being part of the world anymore, but walking that narrow and straight path, he will get convicted. So be long-suffering with your husband. Be patient. There's some sisters that have said that it took their husbands 2 years, But even if he doesn't come around, just read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 14. That's going to be really important for you. And it's going to be even more important for you to develop a relationship with some of the sisters, because you're going to endure the Matthew 10 sword. It happens to everyone, because he didn't come to make peace but division. I can't remember where the verse is, but mother will be against daughter-in-law, or was it mother-in-law will be against daughter, father against son. Like your family, if you are walking that narrow path and fulfilling the royal law, rebuking, then they're not going to really like you. I mean, I can give you an example. All of my family are mad at me. They all think I'm in a cult. They all think that I've been brainwashed. They all think that I'm on a high horse when I've poured out my heart to them. I was called up, I think it's this last month even, from a really close loved one that basically told me that they're not going to have a relationship with me anymore because they will not be rebuked. So Matthew 10 sword is very real. Your enemies become those of your household. And everybody goes through it. So it's going to be important that you are connected with one of the brothers or sisters to help you during those tough times emotionally, because women are very emotional. We get in our heads. And you want to be, when you're not well rooted, I mean, read the seed sower. You can get choked out. So you need to connect with a brother or a sister so they can give you encouragement, give you strength, give you scripture, and really, get yourself rooted in the Word. And sorry, I forgot to talk about this because I did hear your question about the idols in your house. So I will say this. So we cannot usurp our authority over our husband. So an example I can give you for myself, like, I didn't know about Jezebel. I didn't know about usurping my authority over men or any of that when Jehovah was showing me his truth about being in covenant. And so I didn't ask my husband. I just threw everything out. And I'm not telling you to do that because it sounds like you understand you're not supposed to usurp your authority over your husband. So I probably wouldn't have done that if I would have known. I would have asked him and talked to him and had a discussion about it. But I didn't. I just threw everything out. So it was like a drastic change in the house that has caused tension. But when I did learn about usurping your authority over you're being supposed to be obedient to your husband, and I was learning about, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That really scared me. I was asking like you're asking, so I know what you're asking. And what I can tell you is to read 1 Corinthians 7. Do not serve the idols in your house. You can sanctify your husband and your children. If he asks you to participate in pagan holidays, do not participate. Obey God over your husband in that, because he's asking you to sin. And you don't have to obey him if he's asking you to sin. But we have things in the household still. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? But you got to believe the scripture and when it's telling you that you sanctify your family. So if you still have a non-believing husband, like, I'm not going to go and take those things and sell them because I didn't buy them. They are my husband's. And even if I was, what's mine is his in our household. But I'm not going to go and usurp my authority over him, knowing that he doesn't want to get rid of those. Because he's the leader of the household. But I'm going to obey God. So it's going to be important for you, again, to get connected with the women. So if you're not on the women's spaces, get on the spaces, develop a relationship with them who are walking the narrow path, because you are going to face Matthew 10 sword. It happens to everyone, and we women get emotional going through the chastisement, and you're going to need somebody to lean on and to talk to so you don't get in your head and you don't get overly overwhelmed and emotional, especially if you're not well rooted in the Word. So if you need to talk to one, DM me. there's a lot of sisters in the group that are more rooted in the word than I am too, that if you need to connect with them, I can help you with that as well.